Good evening, folks. Welcome to Local Food Forum's webinar, Better Dialogues conversation about farmers markets, outdoor farmers market season kickoff, why you should go. If you know anything about me, or if you know anything about Local Food Forum, you know that I love farmers markets. I've been going to them for decades. I really kind of had my formative experiences with the Chicago local food community when I moved here at Green City Market, which is my local market. And it's just such a big part of my life. But unless you're kind of like as old as I am, you may not remember a time when farmers markets weren't all over the place. But as recently as the 1980s, 1990s, there were really very few of them across the country. The conventional food system had kind of taken over. And we really just didn't have much local food available in a lot of our cities. So we have a very special guest tonight, Laura Avery, who started with the Santa Monica Farmers Market near LA in 1982, just 1 year after they started. She was the market manager for 36 years. So we're truly in the presence of a living farmers market legend tonight. And she oversaw the market as it went through this explosive growth. It had influence on the rest of the country as farmers markets went from about 1,000 when she started working there to more than 8,000 today. So it's been huge. Sarah Stegner, my co-host of Prairie Grass Cafe fame, was a founding member of Green City Market here in Chicago in 1999. And at that time, even, well after Laura started at Santa Monica, Chicago really had very little in terms of a farmer's market scene. So they are going to engage in a conversation about their experiences, and then it will be followed by a panel discussion with our amazing guest speakers. Matthew Ruffey, who heads up the Link Up Illinois program run by Experimental Station nonprofit that provides financial support for markets link match programs, and also organizes Chicago's Uptown Farmers Market in his role as president of the Chicago Market Co-op Grocery Project. So Matthew's truly an old tools player. Janelle St. John, Executive Director of Chicago's Growing Home Inc. nonprofit, who will discuss how our urban farming and organic produce operation is improving food access in underserved communities on Chicago's South Side. Kyle Jacobson of Illinois' Jacobson Family Farms, who will discuss his innovative approaches to regenerative agriculture, which was the topic of our first webinar 2 weeks ago. And Alex Finn of Michigan's Finn's Ranch, who will discuss the importance of farmers markets in building community and how that helped her and her family recover from a devastating fire on their farm a couple of years ago. So you see, there's more to farmers markets than all that beautiful food. So I'm going to turn it over to Sarah and Laura to have a great conversation.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
And thank you. Just to get started, let me say first, thank you to everybody that's come on. And during this conversation, will you please put in the chat, particularly if you're not from Chicago, where you are from and what you are seeing in season in your area. So if you put that in the chat, we want to know that. Then I'd like to say to my sponsors, Rebecca Fife from Landmark Pest Control, thank you so much for all of your tech support, your AV pictures, and your brilliance that you bring to this. We are very grateful. Amanda Puck from Mariano's, the nicest person. Thank you so much for everything you're doing to support this and furthering the message. Let me just say, this is about getting the information to the public from experts that can talk about local food and arm us with the information that we need in order to be better advocates for our food system. I want to thank Chicago Chef's Cook. That would be Darren Guest, Ida Davidman, Melissa Clark, and myself are part of Chicago Chef's Cook for sponsoring. And our new sponsor, Nick Davis from Community Food Navigator. We are thrilled that he has come on board with all his many talents and connections. So thank you. And Laura, I am thrilled to be having this conversation with you. My thing is I'm one of the founding members of Green City Market, which is this year 25 years old. It was started by
I have shopped at Green City when I visit Chicago. I always make a point to go to Green City.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. And I have been to the Santa Monica Farmers Market as well. I went through it with Laura Silverman. So she was
Sarah, yeah,
shopping. Yes. It was an amazing
not
experience.
Sarah.
And Abby Mendel
Nancy
started
Silverton?
this market, Nancy
Sorry.
Silverton. Yes.
Nancy
And
Silverton, yeah.
yeah, and also I want to do a shout out to Linda Calfiore, who is also one of the founders, along with Rick Bayless. I don't think he's on the Zoom tonight, but they all and so many people in the Chicago chefs community came together and rallied behind Green City's inception. So Laura, will you just talk to me about like getting it, how you got it started and that whole experience?
Well, California is one of the few states, maybe the only state, where it was illegal for farmers to sell produce directly to the public. They literally were forced by regulation to sell all of their produce through a packing house. And as often goes with government regulation, they say it's for our own good and our own safety. But basically what it did is it forced farmers to take their produce to large packing houses where it was standard packed. Things had to be the exact same size, a certain level of ripeness. Anything that was too ripe, too small, too big was discarded. So farmers were already severely curtailed in what they could actually sell. Then the packing house would pack it and then store it and then turn around and try to market it commercially. And at the end of the year, if the produce didn't sell, the farmer was still billed for storage and packing expenses. And so one year the packing houses went on strike and the farmers, I wish I knew who it was, a farmer in Northern California had ripe peaches to sell. He said, I'm going to go downtown and I'm going to take a pickup truck full of peaches and I'm going to sell peaches for 10 cents a pound. And he drove into town and started selling peaches and it was a big news story and everybody paid attention and he, sold a lot of peaches for 10 cents. This was all in the 70s. So in 1977, the Direct Marketing Act, the Farmer to Consumer Direct Marketing Act was signed into California Code of Regulations under Jerry Brown's first term as governor. He had heard about this farmer selling direct to the public out of his truck in a town in Northern California. And so this regulation, code of regulation, was enacted so farmers could sell produce of their own production directly to consumers at a location designated as a certified farmers market. In California, we are called certified farmers markets. A certified farmers market has to be certified by the county agriculture department, and it can be sponsored only by a municipality, a nonprofit, or a farmer. So
that's
Monica.
That's great. That was a big win. That's amazing.
Big win. Thank you forever, Governor Moonbeam, Jerry Brown.
Yes.
He did it. He made it happen.
That's very cool.
Because agriculture has very, very strong, entrenched, powerful interests in keeping everything under their control. So
one of the things that I think is really important about a farmer's market is that it protects our access, of course, to this local product, but also the amount of diversity that we're able to find. We have a farm in Chicago, Nichols Farm, that has over 135 different varieties of apples, and so many varieties and heirloom seeds that are passed down. This is often done through farmers markets. Do you see that in your market too?
Well, yeah, because farmers are allowed to bring in, what they grow. And packing houses, if your tomato is a lumpy, weird shaped, green striped, tomato, we can't pack that. You can't sell that, and there was no market for these, odd shapes, odd sizes. So this has really allowed farmers to get very creative with what they grow. Heirloom tomatoes, the whole heirloom movement of, varieties that were not considered commercially viable or had not been grown anymore. Suddenly they had a resurgence and they were brought to the market because they tasted great. And this is what farmers market customers are looking for.
One of the things, yes, absolutely. One of the things that we have at Green City that I'm particularly proud of is that we have a farmer present or somebody who's worked on that farm is the requirement. And I think that know your food, know your farmer kind of mantra is key to keeping the relationships alive between chefs and customers and farmers. And I feel like in California, when I walked through that market with Nancy Silverton, she knew exactly who she was dealing with. And that was
Yeah.
such a powerful statement to me as an up and coming chef.
Mm-hmm. Nancy was the first one. She was the first chef, I think, in LA who really got like what was being offered at the farmers market. She used to drive her truck park in the alley, walk around the market with a wad of cash, spend probably a couple $1,000s, buy produce, put it in her truck, and then go back to Campanile and then make dinner that night with these wonderful things she had found at the market. She was really the one who spearheaded. And I got to say the timing, I mean, I came along in 1982. The market opened in 1981, July 16th, 1981, the Wednesday Santa Monica Farmers Market opened. And it was operated by the city of Santa Monica. It was one of only two, I believe, city operated markets. The other markets in LA, and in 1982, there was maybe a handful of markets. They were mostly run by nonprofits, the Interfaith Hunger Coalition, in church parking lots. That was the original access. They were the nonprofits who started these things. Nancy came along. She was a celebrity chef. The celebrity chef movement, as I guess, for lack of a better word, chefs were Wolfgang Puck, people like this. They were coming around. They were making a name for themselves. They were discovering a whole new love affair with produce and ingredients when they came to the farmers market and they could talk to the farmer and taste these things and get these things and then take it back to the restaurant and then cook and then tell their customers. And so it wasn't long before other chefs came to the market and started buying, more and more products. And then I hate this word celebrity, but the chefs who were making a name for themselves, opening restaurants, were totally getting on board with this. But then we had a problem because the Farmer to Consumer Direct Marketing Act had a word in there. It had to be sold to the consumer. Strictly speaking, a restaurant is not the consumer. They were buying and reselling the produce. So we had to go before the Board of Supervisors and change one word in the Direct Marketing Act from farmer to consumer to farmer to customer, because by now the chef's influence was so strong. We also started a farmers market salad bar with the City of Santa Monica School District, and that was hugely popular. And again, the City of Santa Monica was buying produce to feed to children, so who was a consumer? So we had to change the regulations. We had hearings, and luckily we changed that word from consumer to customer. So we were allowed to sell to chefs and to the school district, and that kept growing in that way.
You are a wealth of information about farmers markets and their origins. We so appreciate you being on tonight.
This is California specific. This is only California. It had to be, because we were really not at odds. We had to confront big ag.
Yes, absolutely. And Bob, I'm going to throw it back to you.
Bob, you're muted. Just heads up.
Thank you.
Rookie mistake, Bob.
Yeah, it's a rookie mistake. I make every single webinar. Yeah. Laura, I remember reading a while ago, you were talking about the chefs coming, but there was a midweek market at Santa Monica that was basically called the Chef's Market, because that's what...
The Wednesday, right. That was the first one. That was the one that I was involved. It was the only one for the first 10 years in Santa Monica. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So the chefs still come to the market themselves a lot, because I mean, what we've seen a bit in Chicago is that the chefs who used to, prowl the grounds, and there were chef sightings, by their fans in the audience. A
Right.
lot of them turn that over to staff. The chefs, make personal appearances at Santa Monica, at least when you were still there.
Oh yeah, they came because they were become friends with the farmers. We actually had a chef get married at a farmer's booth at the farmers market before the market opened. It was like at 8:30 in the morning. Okay, come on over. They love the farmers, and then they bring their trainees along with them because they want to be there when the trainee to see the look on their chef apprentices' faces when they taste this stuff for the first time. So there's quite a bit of love and affection and true investment in the produce and the farmers. So it happened all the time.
Yeah. Wow. Getting married at the farmer's market booth. So I think you're writing a novel called Rhubarb and Romance.
That's a little crazy.
That'll be a good one. Yeah.
Well, Sarah, I don't want you to get cheated of your own acclaim. Tell us what it was like when you started at Green City, when you were participating in the founding of Green City Market, and how things have changed
Yeah.
over the last 25 years.
And Sarah,
Yeah.
when did Green City Markets open? I don't know. When did they?
1999, it's 20, right
Yeah.
around there, right
Yeah.
around there.
19, okay.
I would say that the thing that stands out to me is how much of a community pulled it together and made it happen. Yes, it was under the leadership of Abby Mendel, and we as chefs all gave our sources and really did demos. We were started in the alley. It's our Chicago history of the market, and then moved to Lincoln Park. But over the years, and particularly this last year when there's been a lot of talk about it being 25 years, so many people have come up to me knowing my involvement with the market and said, I was the one that helped bring in the flower vendor. And I was there. I was on the first board. And I think the acknowledgement that it is our whole food community and continues to be, a group. And that's what you see, with the Chicago market, which Matt can talk about, that this is a large group of people. This is our community. These are our farms. These are our chefs. These are our food leaders in the industry. The people that support the restaurants have all come together to make this happen. And to me, that is, I think, one thing I want to have come out of this is the whys behind why are we doing this? Why is this so important? And that keeping that access, keeping the farmers on the land. Green City has made a big stand about a viable income for farmers in order to make it worth their while to keep them on the land. The access, spreading information like this is, and I think that sets you up really well for your conversation with Matt.
Yes. Matthew, my friend, your farmers market, Uptown Farmers Market, is opening Wednesday. And so far in April, Green City Market is the only market in the city of Chicago that rolls the dice on our crazy April weather here in Chicago. And it's actually worked out quite well for them, not just this year, but over the past 3 years. But starting on Wednesday with Uptown Farmers Market which Matthew helps organize, and Green City's Wednesday market opens, and then the doors fly open, and our outdoor market season is started in full. But we'll circle back around to Uptown Farmers Market. But Matthew, segueing from the conversation that Sarah and Laura just had, to me, one of the biggest changes since I started shopping at farmers markets, a few decades ago, is the accent and the emphasis on food access. That's represent how that really accelerated when the SNAP, that the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, switched to the electronic benefit transfer cards, and that enabled almost all the farmers market, every farmers market here, probably most of them across the country. And then that in turn inspired the Link Up Illinois program that you're running. So why don't you discuss that a little bit?
Yeah, thanks so much, Bob. And I think you're right. And while tonight, for anyone that's not in Chicago, I'm going to talk about the Link Up Illinois program. But there's a program like this in almost every state, and I think that's a beautiful thing. So this particular one, which we call Link Up Illinois, and then the Link Match program, you're right. We started in 2011, and we started at one market. We started at the 61st Street Farmers Market, which happens to be the market that Experimental Station also runs. And for us, finding out how, and we've heard it said a few different times tonight, right? You keep hearing community come back into this. And I think when we look at all of the programs that we're doing, being able to make sure that people in your community have access to the farmers market, they feel like it's there for everybody. And so Link Up Illinois, and you had mentioned before, thank you for that. So we double the value of people's Link card is what it's called here, but the SNAP benefits. So when they swipe for $5 or $10 or $50 at a farmer's market, we double that value for things and fresh fruits and vegetables. So the beauty of it, Rob, I think, is that not only does that help the shopper, so certainly it allows that person to put better food on their table. We talk about it a lot that we'd like to change it from this or that you might be making a choice of at the farmer's market to this and that. And I think as we do things like that, one, yes, it absolutely gives more access to food for the people that are shopping. But the other beautiful part of it, it goes back to the food community, right? We have to be supporting our farmers. We have to be supporting these producers. And if we can double the spending that's going to happen, not at just the producers that are out through there, because we want the cheese vendors and we want the meat vendor, we want everyone to get that sale at the farmer's market. But if now we've doubled up the spending power for fresh fruits and vegetables, that also means those dollars are going right back into the farmers' hands, which makes such a difference in their community too.
Can I say that Green City has a budget this year of $375,000? So that goes into the SNAP program. They do a 3-time matching at the market, and some of that is raised by the market, and some of it is funding that comes through. And people, I know Arshia is on from Bears and A, and these people have access as well to the pastries and everything else that's at Green City Market. And I think that's one of the things the SNAP program has done, which has made all of the food there accessible and inclusive.
And Sarah, I think it's a great point of when you combine programs like that. And we understand not everyone can be Green City. Green City is so amazing. But even if you look at the smallest farmers market that's out there that maybe doesn't do that additional match, when you combine programs like this that allow someone to go buy everything that they want or more of what they want, to start to have that choice of the food that you know the story behind and connecting to the food, it does all of those things. And I'm really, really proud to be a part of that.
Yeah, and
I want to mention, can I just say in Santa
Sure.
Monica, we have the SNAP and the Double Up Food Bucks and those programs as well. But I think one of the things also, we actually did a survey of pricing, comparing top 10 items at grocery stores and farmers markets, because some people complain that, oh, the prices are so high and why is it so much? And but I think overall, it turned out that farmers markets items were 7 out of 10 were actually the same or less than, commercial, but also the relationship that farmers establish with customers with farmers. You can get access to entire flats of ripe fruit and things, just by being a regular customer and getting to know your farmer. So there's other ways to economize and save and take home even more produce when you get to know your farmer.
yeah,
Thank
and
you.
that whole concept that it's too expensive to shop at farmers markets is a myth that we all have been fighting for years. And ever since I became involved in good food advocacy professionally, it was very hard to have that conversation about the high cost of cheap food because it was so ingrained for generations to shop for food on price. And so if you were gonna, there was a bargain basement price, in the circular, that's what people went for. But The only good thing we can say about the inflationary surge after COVID is that it really closed the gap. What gap existed, which was always exaggerated, between locally produced farmers market food and supermarket food. And I think that, when that gap closes, then people say, well, if I'm just spending a little bit more, then I'm going to do it because of all these benefits, the health, the sustainability, the community, the regenerative agriculture aspects to it. So it's great. Before we move on,
Could
no,
I
go ahead.
ask, Matthew, could you just tell a short synopsis of what the Chicago market is and
Yeah.
where it's at right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, thank you so much. So Chicago Market is a community co-op grocery store that's going to open right here in Uptown. So we're at the corner of Broadway and Wilson. The $1 million question is of always, when is it opening? Our permits are in. We have the bank financing finalizing. We're in a really good spot. We're hoping for about this time next year, if all goes well. So we're just waiting on that. But I think going back to one of those pieces on, what we're all talking about here tonight, Chicago Market, like the vision that we have is to build a better food community that's local, sustainable, and connected. And I think that's what drove us to build a farmers market even before the store opens. Because what does a farmers market do? It builds that same community. It connects people to food. Don't get me wrong. Also, it helps us to start to help people to understand that you can go to Uptown for good food. It's not just the Aldi, and I'm not even knocking any of those other stores. They have their role to play, but we can start to stay in our own community to get this food and to get that connection to farmers. So yes, we're really excited. So Chicago Market, the co-op grocery store. In fact, if you look behind me, that's the building that right there behind me. So
Very
we're really
cool.
excited to open it. Yeah, thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this because A, I live 2 miles from the market site, and B, I have been an owner of Chicago Market for about 11 years. It takes a long time to get a
Yes,
co-op
yes.
open, but
I am
we're
also.
excited. I think you were number one, Sarah.
Yeah, somehow I got in before the link was open and I was one of the first ones. So I'm proud of that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah, over to you to have a conversation with Janelle.
Yes, please, Chanel, if you would give a bit more of your introduction of yourself and of your amazing organization.
Thank you so very much, Sarah. And thank you all for having me here. So first, let me frame Inglewood. So Growing Home is located in Inglewood. It's a South Side community in Chicago. And so for those of you who are not from Chicago, Chicago has a very crazy history of segregation, lack of investment in Black and Brown community. And to frame it today, Inglewood has about a 23% unemployment rate compared to 9% citywide. So just to frame that. Another term that's often used to define our community is food desert. I don't like the word food desert. I just think when people hear desert, they see nothing growing, they see just no green. It's called food insecurity. That's the word I choose to use. And for food insecurity, just imagine your community. You have options, right? There's 3 or 4 grocery stores right next to you. There's a farmer's market. Last year alone, even though Inglewood was considered a food desert, 3 major grocery stores closed, including Walmart. And every time these grocery stores come in, they displace mom and pop shop, right? So I'm going to frame that. Growing Home has been growing food in Inglewood. We grow food on concrete. Okay, so Growing Home, Inglewood has a lot of empty lots, abandoned homes. And one of the things Growing Home has done is convert about 1.7 acres into growing land. And we're not new. Because of COVID, everybody's talking about sourcing locally, but that was not new. We've been doing it for a very long time. And we're also the only USDA certified organic farm in Chicago. So let me just do a little shameless plug there. Meaning we follow strict procedure. It's very different from a community garden, processing, washing, and we recently became GAP certified. Now, to be honest, if I was talking about Growing Home in any other community, you would probably know it. But because it's located in Inglewood, I think sometimes people don't believe what we're saying. So we tell you, come out and visit us, okay? We grow over 30,000 to 40,000 pounds of food. And I hate talking about pounds. So for you foodie people, you know what I mean. Watermelons. We don't do watermelons. So this is mostly the light stuff that you see in this beautiful picture here. So that is a lot of food. We do over 150 different varieties. My hit is the tomatoes. We do about 10 varieties every season. We love farming. We love it because it's experimentation. This is our season when we get excited. We're always, so one of the other things that we do is grow culturally competent food, right? Food that reflects what our community wants. But diversity is also important. Many of us are limited to the 5 fruits that we grew up with: bananas, strawberries, whatever, right? So what we put is 80% what they know and 20% what they don't know. And we put that in the boxes and we sell that at our farmers market. So Inglewood, our farm site, we have our own market every Thursday. And we also partner with the Inglewood, Grow Greater Inglewood market on Saturdays. We also have been selling at Green City. Don't ask me how long, but it's been a long
forever.
We're also at Green City Market. 2 years ago, we started at 63rd Street Experimental Station. For those of you who don't know, that's like the Hyde Park area. You could Google it. And so one of the things we've done is to think about the food that we do keep in our community. Last year, we distributed more than 75% of our food grown in our community. To communities like Inglewood. And the thing is respect. That's why I like farmers market. Like, we could sit out in the corner and say free food, free food. I don't think that's respect. How could you make food fun? How can you make trying new things fun? And farmers market with some music and some energy and other vendors is a great way and a respectable way to showcase food and also to address the food insecurity issues in our community. So what we sell in Inglewood is always 50% more less than what we sell on the north side. I'm sorry, if you're from the north side, you pay regular price. In Inglewood, it's 50% off. And we also have Link and those other double match programs. The good news about growing our own food is we get to control price. Simple.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful that you've kept the food in the community, and the information that you're sharing here is powerful information that needs to be presented. And I'm very grateful that you're on and speaking on behalf of Growing Home. You also do a lot of job share or job programs too, right? That's like the backside of it.
So we use the program for 2 purposes: workforce development and food access. Now, workforce development, people say we don't train people to be farmers. It's often good when that comes out of it. But we think that there's so much you can learn from farming. There's so many transferable skills you can learn from farming. And in addition, we have a classroom and we pay them to spend 12 weeks with us, right? And many of them find farming therapeutic. If you've ever gardened or farmed, when you've gone through crisis, there's something about seeing a seed and seeing it grow and it reflecting in who you are. So we're just in a unique space. People have different workforce development program. We happen to have a farm and we love it. People get to grow food and see their own community enjoy it. There's just some beauty in that while we seek full-time employment for them.
Are you opening a store and a cafe? Did I hear you say that before?
So we're in the beginning phase of a $25 million capital campaign. We already have designs done. The idea is to create a bigger processing room, to create a full economy for Growing Home in Inglewood. For example, we grow the food. Just imagine being able to process more food, taking it into a commercial kitchen. How much do you pay for a salad? $15? Chicago rules say we can't make a salad unless we have this fancy kitchen. Create value-added products that we sell out into the cafe, which is alongside the food market, right? And so then it's just being able to, as a nonprofit, really be a social enterprise that we are. And also, just one thing before I miss this, because let me not miss my chefs, because I think some of them are on. One of the ways we help with getting people to try new things is through taste. And that's where our chefs come in. For the last 7-8 years, we've been hosting the Growing Home Backyard Dinner, where we invite chefs to use our produce and prepare food. Now we've turned it into the Urban Ag Crawl. So 2 years in a row, Grow Greater Inglewood, Urban Growers Collective, Growing Home. You come, you get to visit the farm site, you get to see our chef take our produce and make beautifully, amazingly tasting food. I know Sebastian, I think you're on there from Evolve Network. How we met him, we said, Sebastian, come to our Thursday market.
Becca, can you pin him?
Produce. Yeah, he grilled some produce. Like, really, you got to convince people. I said, we're not doctors. I'm not going to tell you, Black people, minorities, we're at the top of every worst medical outcome. They're tired of having everybody tell them everything. But we could convince you with taste. We'll take what grandmama made it healthier, make it fancy, make it respectful. And so that's one of the ways we use chef at our markets and in all of our programs to get people to try new things. And there goes Sebastian.
Hi, Sebastian.
Hi, Sebastian. And so it's a whole community of foodies to make this thing work, right? You need the residents, you need the chefs, you need the farmers, and all in all, to make this impact that we want in our community. Where's that, Sebastian?
Hi, you guys.
There he is. Hi.
Sebastian, you're 2 weeks early. Your webinar is in 2 weeks.
She just made you sound like a hero, which I love.
Well, I am not a hero, and it was always an honor to go and do food there. It's a really wonderful cause and situation.
Yeah,
it's a little piece of paradise in the middle of a residential community and right in the heart of the city. If you have an opportunity to go, you should definitely go.
59th and Wood, everyone, come on by. The first market is May 15th. So come on, Thursday.
When is it?
The first market is May 16th, and every third Thursday is called Fun Thursday Market. They're always doing something, grilling, music, I'm not sure. But it's a fun Thursday every third Thursday.
Okay.
Rebecca, I think we need to take a field trip.
I think we do. Absolutely. Thank you, Janelle. Let's move on to Kyle. And Kyle, why don't Kyle's as you'll see, a young farmer, and following in a long standing family tradition. Kyle, tell us a little bit about why you decided to pursue farming and why in particular you decided to pursue the way you farm.
So I'm Kyle Jacobson Family Farms, and even though we pitch it on our website that I'm from a many generations of Swedish farmers, I'm actually first generation farmer here. A lot of my stuff has been learned on YouTube. But yeah, so my degree is in environmental science. I never really thought I'd end up in agriculture. I just I kind of joke that I turned what did I say? A good way to ruin a great hobby and become a commercial farmer. Yeah. But so I guess like lucky for me is I've really never known another way, right? Like conventional farming just never appealed to me. So it's like I just kind of started this way, and that's how we've continued and expanded enterprises. And I think like the longer we do this, I think the more we go down like the regenerative permaculture, like perennial based systems. Yeah, when we started our farm, I leased a couple acres from my neighbor, who a neighbor of the house that my mom built, actually. And I'd been going to that property since I was in diapers. It was an old horse farm, and she had like a 2-acre like overgrown hayfield, and we pretty much just came in there, and the way that we do our annual vegetables is we brought in about 17 semi-truck loads of organic compost, and we just put it deep right on top of the sod. And when you put it on that deep or that thick, I guess, it acts like a mulch where it essentially, smothers out a lot of weeds, obviously adds to our fertility. And what's great about that is also like just the amount of water that it holds. And we mulch all of our pathways, so we're staying out of the mud when it's wet. The wood chips are absorbing a lot of the moisture, and then in drier times it almost seems like they're releasing them. So I mean, at the end of the day, we're putting a lot of carbon down on the ground, and that that's kind of how it started with the vegetables, which I would say is annual vegetables are probably the hardest to be regenerative with, right? And we kind of have transitioned into we got another farm down the road that is it's 50 acres, and it was in conventional soy. I mean, we just came in, we brush hogged the soy to the ground, let it mellow out a little bit, and cover cropped it, and pretty much we're in there pretty quickly planting perennial grasses, and that farm now has it's about 50% perennial, like cool season grasses, and then we took the other 50% of the property and put it back into native prairies, which is like really thrives in the warm season. Basically, and we've planted about 500 native trees. We put in about 3,000 fruit trees: apple, pear, peach, plum, pawpaw, persimmon, Chicago hardy fig, lots of nut trees, chestnuts, almonds, walnuts, and then that is essentially planted on a contour line. We have a couple slopes, and when you plant trees on a contour, it almost helps more evenly distribute the water that's coming down that slope. It slows it down. It has more time to soak into our land, instead of it carrying topsoil and going down into the rivers. We're holding a lot of water on our farm, maybe even replenishing the aquifers beneath us, right? So again, at the end of the day, it's all about not overgrazing these lanes of trees. We did it in about a way where there's about an acre lane between each row of trees, and that's food for a day, essentially. And the cows get moved every day, and we want to eat a third of it with the cows. We want to trample a third of it, and then we want to leave a third of it standing. And the idea is you build up this litter bank, which is carbon. You're putting like a skin over the soil. We're protecting it from erosion, from drying out. We're just seeing just looking at the earthworm castings that we're finding all over the place. It's just like you can see that the earthworms are alive, and what was just Roundup Ready soybeans, we now see all these birds arriving, praying mantises, and just watching
cicadas.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And we
Thank
just
you.
planted. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Just amazing work, Kyle.
Yeah,
Really
and
amazing work.
it really gives the backside story of the farmers market, of what goes into it, that we just see the produce, and you just gave us a huge amount to think about and understand. And now we have Alex, and Alex will tell us about her farm and also about the tragedy of the fire and how the community rallied.
Hello, my name is Alex Finn. I with Finn's Ranch. We are first generation farmers. My husband and I moved to Buchanan, Michigan about 10 years ago from Chicago. My husband is a Southside Irish guy, grew up in the city, you know, just nothing to do with farming. We had day jobs. We worked in the floral industry, nothing to do like in the sales part of the floral industry, not in the growing part of the floral industry, and like the, big agro part of the flowers, not the beautiful ones that you see at the farmers market on another scale. I'm originally from Colombia, South America, so all the flowers that you buy at Mariano's mostly come from Colombia. So anyhow, to make a long story short, we moved to Buchanan, Michigan. The property we got had 14 acres and 20 chickens. We thought it would be fun for the kids. And then we bought 4 cows for the family. And 10 years later, now we're full-time farmers. And 2 years ago, in 2022, our barn caught on fire. I'm going to put here how hold a second, let me see if I can. Technology is my friend here, and I can put you how our barn caught on fire. You can see it behind me. It was like a barn garage where we had a bunch of freezers. It was the beginning of the season, so we had 2 big freezers that were full of meat ready for market season. So besides losing our winter production, all already processed and ready to go to market, we lost tools, we lost the freezers, we lost so many things. I don't know if you can see behind me. You will see, like, even our house, the siding started melting. The fire guy said that 5 more minutes we'll have no house. So to make a long story short, the battle with the insurance and just trying to make things work, it took forever. We still, 2 years later, the barn is not done. It still needs we have the walls and the ceiling. We still have to put freezers, electric, pour more concrete, and so many more things that go along the line. The inside of my house now became my husband's workshop. So the living room is full of tools, and we have to work with what we have at this point. But the point of this story is that the community of the farmers market, as soon as the news of the fire came in, Green City Market came and said to us, what do you need? How can we help you? Immediately, there is a Farm Forward Fund as part of the Green City Market vision, is to help the farmers in the moment of need. They gave us money immediately, no questions asked, for whatever we needed in a moment of need, as it is a fire when just everything just burned to the ground. So
That's
I just that's a beautiful response that they came forward, and that Farm Forward Fund is set up for exactly this, to help farmers in crisis. So if you see, this is what the barn looks like now a little bit, and that is behind me. I just put the picture. And
I like
so
the turkeys too.
Thank you. I just don't have but words of gratitude. I always say that our farm is a story of hard work, but also the story of a community that has supported the little farmer. That started with 20 chickens and 4 cows. And nowadays we do 13 farmers markets a week in the city of Chicago. We don't have but words of gratitude with the city. And we're so happy that we can just bring a little bit of good, healthy, sustainable meats to the community. We are one of the biggest link receivers at the Green City Market as well. We also do Rogers Park. At Rogers Park, we also do a vast amount of link. And we are very proud and happy to be able to provide good meat to families in need, that, their money can get a little bit farther because of the Link Match program.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
sharing
you,
all that.
Yeah, and the whole community portion of this is so important. And I know when I came out here, I like to say, in 2011, I like to say that I knew 5 people in Chicago, and none of them had anything to do with food. And really the strong sense of community and welcoming within the local food community here really helped me establish myself and turn this into, more than interest, but actually a second career. But we've seen this over and over again, and because Local Food Forum is unique in its focus, repeatedly I've published, requests to help farmers like Alex who have run into these kind of troubles. Alex is almost right across the walking path at Green City Market from Jerry Boone and his Froggy Meadow Farm in Beloit, Wisconsin. Last spring, a drought almost put him out of business, but he sold a lot of his product to chefs. And when he told them he couldn't supply them and he was thinking of quitting, they rallied around him, started a GoFundMe, raised $40,000 in like 2 or 3 weeks to get a well dug so he could replenish his field of water. It's remarkable. It's one of the most really satisfying things and fulfilling things about being part of this community. So right now we're amazingly getting shorter on time.
We
We're
have
gonna
10 minutes left. Yeah. So
yeah, let's just take a quick break. Rebecca, if you could put up that slide about the next webinar.
Yes, I'll do that in just a second.
This is the commercial message part of the webinar.
All right, let's see.
Okay, I'll start talking and then the slide will pop up. The next webinar, we're doing these every 2 weeks, except for occasionally it'll be 3. Here it is. Local Food Forum's Better Dialogues, How Schools Inspire and Feed Our Youngest Eaters. And there is Sebastian again on the corner. This will be partly about food education because we have some of the most dynamic food education programs in the country right here in Chicago. It'll be partly about school food and the effort to get more farm to school, more farmer produced food into our schools. And we're going to have representatives from the Henry Ford Museum in Detroit who are planning a national program in October during Farm to School Month to promote that whole concept. They're very big. They actually have 4 farms on their museum property out in near Detroit. And they're going to be promoting this and hopefully generating a national program out of it. So I've been kind of prattling because this will give you an opportunity to write down that URL. It's buytickets.ad/localfoodforum/1243842. Or you can go to the Local Food Forum and read this every story for the next 2 weeks because we will be promoting it every single day. So thank you. And do we have any questions, Rebecca?
No, I don't see any questions in the chat. Let's see. We have some congratulations. We have Lou Ebling, who's very excited that Prairie Grass Cafe is starting a kids program to introduce kids to new foods and tastes by making it fun. Fantastic idea, says Lou. Sarah, can you tell us about that?
yeah, it's basically this week they're going to taste ramps, and I'll talk about which farm it came from and Dean Zanella harvesting them. But kind of it's based on Sebastian's principles of offering kids choice, opens up their world in terms of freedom and the ability to make decisions for themselves about food. So I feel like restaurants should come on board and amplify that message.
Matthew in the chat has asked for the floor for a minute or two to follow up. So Matthew, why don't you go ahead?
Boy, thank you so much. And if there's other questions, I'll keep this really short. I'm so inspired and so honored by being here with all of these amazing people. And but it also makes me think, like, coming back to the title of this, the outdoor farmers markets, why should you go? And I think we've heard so much of that here, right? It's a reminder of all the reasons to embrace farmers markets. When you shop local, you're not just buying the fresh produce, you're supporting the very people who grow our food. Knowing where your food comes from builds trust, it fosters connections, it helps you to build connections like what Alex had, where people can come together and to help through the hardest times and to celebrate the good times. It's funny, whether that's Chicago market, whether it's Uptown Farmers Market, Lincoln, Illinois, we always keep talking about the community aspect of it. And we have an interesting value at Chicago market, which is almost impossible to measure, which is joy. It's actually a value that we have built into it, but it's built around fostering those connections, and it's fostering connections around delicious food. And if there's one thing that I could leave people with, is that if you go to your farmer's market, whatever that market is, I'd love it to be ours. Come on Wednesday, we'll always be there. We'll be happy for you to be at the Uptown Farmers Market. But whatever one you're at, you'll find joy at your local farmers market. And to me, that's one of the reasons why you should go. And so I wanted to say thank you again to everybody here. I'm so honored and humbled to even be a part of this great group. I look up to all of you. And so thank you for giving me the floor just for one more minute now. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
And it is fun to shop at farmers markets. And that's the thing. How many people have you ever heard say, oh, I love going to the grocery store and shopping? No, it's a chore. And, if you love food, you're going to love the food you buy there, but it's not the same kind of atmosphere where you're seeing people pushing babies in strollers and dogs, and you get on that first name basis. That whole concept of know your farmer, know your food. That's how it came about. It came from people going to farmers markets, learning from farmers, talking to them, getting on a first name basis with them. And that's one of the things that makes it so special. It's an experience. It's not a chore.
Yes, and Bob, I would layer in there too that we vote with our money, and you spending your money locally is an endorsement for the fact that you want these farmers on their land, and that land is protected when they are growing with regenerative practices. And I feel like that's like at the heart of this, that we are protecting access for future generations and protecting our land, and that also protects our environment. So those are powerful reasons to shop at your local market.
Absolutely. And, even beyond the joy, the community connection, in 2020, when we were all locked up, the farmers markets came back on. They were allowed to open that June. That was really, for a year, maybe more, for most of us who shop at farmers markets, that was our only connection to the old normal. That was the only thing that seemed real, that seemed like, the good times of our life before this crazy catastrophe had happened. And I think that's one of the reasons. You go to Green City Market now, end of April, and you see crowds that you used to see in like July. And there's not really that much product in the market. We got rams, you got asparagus, you got rhubarb, but it's not that, the peak season kind of crowds, and we're getting them anyway. I mean, Sarah,
Yeah, we had 22,000 people, which is our highest ever, go through the Green City Market the second Saturday we were open. That's just unheard of amounts. I also want to say thank you to everybody that came on, because we're coming up on the hour. Thank you for all our speakers and for all the work that you're doing. We see you, we know you're there, and we appreciate you. And all the people that have come on the Zoom to support us and our advocates for local food, we are so grateful for your participation. And I hope that you can join us in 2 weeks. And I want to thank Rebecca Fife from Landmark Pest Control, and Amanda Puck from Mariano's, Chicago Chef's Cook, Ida Davidman, Darren Guest, Melissa Clark, and Nick Davis from the Community Food Navigator for helping us put this on. We are very grateful, and we feel that if you can spread this to the next person that might not be as familiar with the topics we are bridging here, we'd be very grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of love in the Zoom room here, and Kyle, just one quick request: keep growing that baby kale. We're like addicted to this stuff now.
Will do. First succession just bolted on us though, so darn.
Oh no! I'll eat it anyway.
6 more successions to come.
So yeah, visit all these great people at their farmers markets, learn from them, enjoy them, and as Matthew says, enjoy the joy that we all get out of this experience.
Thank you all. Come visit us in Inglewood.
Definitely.
Thank you. We will. We're going to come.
We will.
And we're going to visit Alex in Buchanan. And I know on Wednesday I'm going to be Uptown Farmers Market. So
Thank you,
thanks,
everybody.
everybody. Yeah, have a good night.
All right.
Thank
see
you
in 2
so
days.
much.